Hi everyone, welcome to my part one of my intro video to getting over social anxiety. I want to use this video basically to explain what this video series is going to be about. This is strictly going to be a channel dedicated to giving you strategies, tips, things you can do, things you can use to get over your social anxiety, to get better from it, and to take back control of your life from it. So, in this video, I mainly want to discuss why it's so difficult to basically get over it, why it's so difficult to not let social anxiety control your life. And unfortunately, social anxiety in the first place is a very widely misunderstood disorder. For those of you that have it, probably know what I'm talking about, where you tried explaining it to your family members, maybe even to therapists or teachers or close friends or what have you. And I'm sure at least most of the time, at least some of the time, you've gotten kind of these like looks that the person you're talking to is not really getting it. Unfortunately, this is tough because therapists really don't know how to treat it either. The most part, there's really, at least the therapists I've come across, there's only been a couple that really know what they're doing, and really there's a few that I know of in the world that they know how to effectively treat social anxiety. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people with this disorder in the world. I work at a job where I come across people that, and I get requests from people who have social anxiety, and you would not believe how many people have this disorder, which is ironic because I remember, and I'm sure those of you who have social anxiety can relate to this, but in my past, when I first discovered I had social anxiety and I was trying to figure out everything about it, I felt like I was the only one that had it. To me, it appeared that everybody else was able to live their life just fine, and they were able to socialize, make friends, date, succeed in jobs or in school, and I felt like I was just left behind. Basically, I was falling behind. So unfortunately, it's a really widely misunderstood disorder. The problem is that there's just this old traditional way of thinking that still exists to this day, that people with social anxiety are viewed as being shy. So a lot of the advice social anxiety people get, unfortunately, even from many therapists, is you just need to do the things you're afraid of. You just need to go out there and do all those things that you're afraid of. Well, that's not really necessarily good advice. And sure, we want to get better from social anxiety and be able to live our lives the way we want to, but there is the way to get better from social anxiety is and to get over it and to be able to live your life free from social anxiety. You have to use proper CBT. You have to go through proper cognitive behavioral therapy, and you do need to go out and do the things that you're anxious to do, that you're afraid of doing, but there's a hierarchy. It's really tricky. You want to go out and do things that kind of cause you a little bit to moderate amounts of anxiety. You don't want to go and do the things that cause you intense anxiety, like give a presentation in front of 1,000 people, for example. Why? That's because it's just too much. It's too much. Your anxiety is too high, and it's just going to reinforce that the event that you're doing, giving the presentation, is scary. It's going to be hard for you to really focus on giving the presentation in the first place, because your anxiety is just going to be so intense and so strong that it's just going to be a miserable experience. Instead, you want to work your way up to that. You want to gradually ascend. I'm kind of doing an uphill slope here, but maybe a better analogy is like a ladder. Gradually ascend a ladder. Step by step, you want to basically do the things that cause you anxiety, but you don't want to basically jump head first yet. You don't want to basically, go all out. You don't want to go gung-ho. You want to start off with something smaller, like giving a presentation, or maybe like a little small talk to maybe a close friend, a relative, a spouse, somebody that's close to you. And basically you want to do stuff like that and work your way up to the more challenging stuff. It takes time, and that's what a lot of people don't get about this disorder, is that this disorder was developed in us over years. We didn't just wake up with social anxiety overnight. So unfortunately, it's going to take time to get over social anxiety. It's going to take time to make progress and to get better. And it's going to take effort. It's going to take practice. But if you're committed to it, if you just take the time to use proper CBT therapy, if you can find, there are some good CBT programs out there. If you can find one, do it every day. And if you also use the cognitive strategies that I'll be giving you over the course of this video series in your daily life, then you will, if you stay committed, you will get better. You will start to get better from your social anxiety and take control of your life again. And unfortunately, it's not there's no cure. There's nothing that you can do to just snap your fingers and be over it. You're going to have to really work at it. And looking back, I'm mostly over my social anxiety, not completely, but looking back, it was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do, but it was also the most rewarding. Whenever I go out and do things I never would have done before in the past, I feel this great feeling, just this feeling of accomplishment, just this feeling of just immense joy that I'm able to do something that I would have never thought possible before in the past. So, but you have to chip away at your old negative thinking. You have to chip away at your anxiety. The analogy I like to use here is an ice sculpture. Okay, you start off with this piece of ice, this block of ice, and you don't have, you want to make the swan, or this beautiful swan. Let's say that's your goal, but you can't just hit it once, with the chisel. You can't just carve once, or take only 1 minute to carve this beautiful swan. No, you have to chip, and you have to carve, and you have to work to, and it requires patience and hard work and focus to get to transform this block of ice, this piece of ice, into that beautiful swan ice sculpture that you want. And that's what you have to do to get over your social anxiety. You have to chip away at all that negativity and anxiety that's been built up over the years. And you can, it just requires patience, time, and effort. So that's what I wanted to discuss in this video. This is part one. Part two, I'm going to talk about what's going on in your brain, why you can't just all of a sudden start thinking positively, and why you can't just turn off your anxiety basically and just, like go out and be like, oh, I'm going to live totally, free from fear and free from anxiety. Why you can't just make a snap decision to do that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll be able to upload part two pretty soon here. Okay, bye for now.